Hi friends, good evening. Welcome to my channel Conversations for Clarity. And this is Bharat Reddy. And in today's topic, we are going to cover an aspect of leadership uh, where how good leaders leverage people to their strengths and not to their weakness. So I'll take you through some examples. Right? So let's say you have a cricket team or a soccer team. There are different set of players, say batsman, bowler, all-rounders, wicket keeper, etc. And maybe in soccer or football, there could be, say, defenders, midfielders, attackers, things like that. Now, imagine, you are assembling a team and you're not giving roles to, these people. And you just say that, you figure it out on the game. What could potentially happen? Now, imagine, a football team going to the ground and they try to figure out whatever best they can. Now, imagine, a defender going all the way dribbling the ball and trying to hit a goal by himself. Uh, I mean, sometimes it could succeed. But what typically happens, good teams, some of the world-class teams you would have seen, they never do it this, solo run kind of a thing. They always go with short passes or long passes, strategic planning, things like that. Same way in a cricket parlance also, right? So everyone has a role, say the initial batsman, they come and they see out the new ball and try to build the momentum and then stabilization and then acceleration. The dependence on bowlers would not be to contribute with the bat, but more with the ball, right? So they're not expected to be a finishers also during chase. Now, I'll give a parallel with business startups, especially. I am more passionate about startups. I want as many startups to succeed, scale, and live up to their full potential. Now, what happens is in a startup, you don't have the luxury like a established corporate house, right? So you hire people, you have enough time for them to acclimatize to your culture and perform. And there are cushions, even if let's say people underperform and things like that. However, in a startup, you don't have that luxury. So what happens is people are expected to perform and scale up quite rapidly. Now, in that kind of a situation, what happens is if there are no there is no clarity on what people are supposed to do, where they need to go for support and resources and things like that. Uh, it could turn out that you may have got the best resources, but they may underperform here, right? So, typically, what happens is after you have spent some years in the corporate world for various reasons. You may want to join a startup and just to try out or try your luck and do big things like that. But when a person successful in a corporate doesn't necessarily mean that he will be successful in a startup for simple reason that you don't have in a startup there is no abundance of resources. It's always a scarcity of resources. People are multitasking and things like that. So a person who has come from a corporate, it takes some time for them to get adjusted. This is where real leadership comes in. Now, I have seen where you hire people and you ask them, you figure it out, right? And that's where the disaster happens. Um, I'm not saying they will not work. They don't have the intention. They don't have all of that. But very soon, I mean, life happens, right? So most of the times, things may not work out in the first few couple of tries. Have to keep trying, especially in acquiring clients and things like that. So with the initial failures, what could happen is even the best of hires, most successful people could get demotivated in such a situation. Whereas If, let's say, a person who is successful in the corporate world is taken in, you leverage that person for his strengths. That person may be an authority in some area, a good salesperson, or it could be whatever their area, and you provide that kind of a role for that person where they can contribute, deliver to the best. And while all the support is provided, of course, they will, over a period of time, they will pick up other skills required in a startup, the multitasking and things like that. But initially, it may be tough for even the most successful. In fact, the more successful you are in a traditional corporate field, the more difficult it becomes to adjust to this kind of a very, very agile, fast learning kind of a startup environment, especially with the kind of changes that are happening. So this is where a good leader will leverage people to their strengths. Now, if you are, say, a salesperson, I mean, you provide. I mean, why should if that person is successful in being a client-facing role, why should a good leader, not leverage their time to be in front of prospects and clients as much as possible? Right. That's what a good leader does. Instead of asking them to do mundane things and administrative things and whatnot. I'll not go into the details, right? So if you have been in such a situation, I'm sure you very easily relate to what I'm saying. So for the benefit of your own organization, equip them, empower them, give them all the support to do what they are best capable of doing, right? So leverage them for their strengths and don't make them to do something that they're not good at. So that is one way to leverage people to their strengths. And over a period of time, they will also learn, the culture of the organization and the startup environment, etc. It may take some time. For some people may learn fast, some people may learn slow. Doesn't matter. But for the organization, the startup to be successful, you have to follow these principles. Otherwise, what happens? Everyone tries to do everything, frustration, no numbers, no ownership, no accountability, and very soon the blame game starts. And you don't want to be in that kind of a situation. I have seen it, I've experienced it, and it's very painful. And if you like this video, please share it with some of your friends and family. You never know who may benefit from this kind of information. Thank you. Jai Hind.